Welcome back, gamers. I wanted to just do a quick sort of update type video for this channel because I feel like I haven't uploaded in a little bit. I'm working on various different things, and I'm gonna try to keep doing that. Where do I start? Okay, so I just recorded a Spider-Man video about Spider-Man 2, the video game, and that's gonna be probably a longish video, but hopefully it'll come out soonish. So that's coming. That's something I'm working on. I am still doing Franken Fridays. That was gonna be more of a like every other week kind of thing, and it's kind of become more of a like once a month kind of thing. But that's fine because there's plenty of months till the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein comes out, so there's plenty of time. But I'm still doing it. Those videos don't get a crazy amount of views, but I like making them, so whatever. What else is going on? I'm doing some more work for my dad at his restaurant, some more video work stuff. So that is coming soon. You can check out his YouTube at Bruce Stuff something something. I'll put a link in the description. So that's one of the things I'm doing more work with. So that's taking up some of my time. What else? Oh yeah, I'm trying to do some writing, but I feel like I'm sort of in between projects at the moment. I can't remember if I've mentioned this in a previous video, but one of the writing things my goal at the start of this year was to try to finish was this script idea I had for the concept is that there's like this chef that is hired to cook this elaborate exotic meal for a like SpaceX Jeff Bezos spaceship type luxury rich people cruise. So then there's like all these exotic animals on this spaceship, and then they get loose and start eating people. And it's about like the chef is the protagonist, and he's got to save the day or whatever. And it's a very goofy and silly horror comedy commentary thing that I was really into when I first started writing it. And I'm like probably like around 2/3 of the way through it, and I'm like, this is so dumb, this is such a stupid idea. And I just kind of don't really like it, at least at the point it's at currently. But I would like to try to at least finish the script, or at least finish this draft of the script, to be like, okay, now I can put it away for a while and maybe come back to it another day, because I need to start stopping and stop starting. I want to try to actually finish projects more. That's one of my goals this year. So hopefully I will find some more time to finish that, and then I can focus up more on some of the other stuff that I actually am more interested in writing, which first of all is this book that I think I've talked about before. But I'm writing a story about lesbian Viking vampires, and I just think it's a very fun idea, and I like it a lot. That's all I'm going to say for right now, but I wrote a bunch of it a month or two ago. Oh god, time, what is time? I don't know. But I would like to get more into that. So that kind of leads into me talking about some of the books and things I was reading. I have a bunch of books just kind of over here that I'm like sort of in the middle of reading, and my reading has kind of really slowed down a lot this year, or at least my book reading. I was reading quite a bit, and then now I've kind of mostly been reading comics. I'm reading a whole lot of the Daredevil comics. I just read a bunch of the Frank Miller run, and I read Born Again, and then now I'm reading the Chip Zdarsky run on Daredevil, which is like sort of kind of what the new season is a little bit loosely based on. But I'm really enjoying the Zdarsky run. Just read some of Thor, God of Thunder, Jason Aaron, the God Butcher arc, which I'm also really liking. There's a bunch of comics I'm trying to read because I like comics. But book stuff. A while ago, I started the Once and Future King. This is like the main King Arthur, or one of the like big King Arthur books that covers the whole story of King Arthur. and I read the first part, which is the Sword in the Stone, when King Arthur's like a little kid, and it's kind of the Disney movie's kind of loosely based on that. And I liked it a bit, but then there's like four more books and this like huge tome, and I just hadn't gotten around to reading more. But I would like to at some point. It's any old kind of mythological stuff. I'm very into. I'm still kind of trying to read A Princess of Mars. This is the first John Carter book. It's very old and kind of racist, and but I'm like over 2/3 of the way through, and it's not that long, so I'm like, I should just finish this. So like every couple of months I'll read like another chapter or so. I'm bad at consistency. When I was over visiting England, I got this like tiny like pocket copy of the Odyssey, which I would like to read. I read like the first little bit, but not very much, maybe the first chapter. I don't know what version of the Odyssey to read. This one is, what is this? This one is translated by T.E. Lawrence, so I don't know if that's considered a good translation or not. There's one that's somewhat recent that's like, I forget what it's called, but it's in the same like rhythm of like syllables that the original was written in, because the original is like more of a poem. And I think that sounds interesting to me. So I don't know. What's a good version of the Odyssey that I should read? Again, I was also curious to read that because Christopher Nolan's working on a version of the Odyssey, and so I kind of wanted to read the original to get like a vibe of what he's going for. Okay, what else? Oh yeah, this is one that I just kind of picked up on a whim. African Samurai. This is the story of Yasuke, who was a African guy who became a samurai in samurai times in the 1600s. The late 1500s, almost. I was close. And he was the inspiration for one of the lead characters in the new Assassin's Creed game. And I just think he's like a fascinating historical figure. So I wanted to read more about that, and then I just kind of got distracted by other things. So I think this is one that is just going to become like I'll put it on my shelf and maybe one day I'll get back to it kind of thing. That's the main things that I wanted to touch on here. I do want to read more Stephen King as well, but that's also been put on the back burner. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of books out there. Shift is another one that I want to get to, which is the second of the Silo series of books. I read the first one in a video you can watch over there. There's a lot, and there's more stuff that I want to get into. Like I'm really curious. Part of the Viking vampire story that I'm working on, it covers like a big chunk of history, and so like one of the arcs that I'm working on right now takes place in West Africa 1800s era, which is the like Dahomey Kingdom era. This is if you've heard of the movie The Woman King, that's the era that movie is based on. And basically there was this faction of warrior women who were sometimes called the Dahomey Amazons, and everything about them I find fascinating, and so I wanted to write about it, because there's not enough stuff written about them, so I wanted to but I also wanted to get like actually do fucking research and read more about them. So that was one of the other books that I wanted to get, was one of the few that talks about the history of that whole region and culture and stuff. I find that shit super fascinating. More and more I've become like interested in history in recent years, because turns out history, we like to repeat it over and over again, which is super fun. I also think that I find it more interesting that like the more you learn about history, the more you start to realize like, oh, that's why things are the way they are today, is because of all this stuff that happened before. What else was I going to talk about? And then the other project that I want to eventually get to is I want to start working on writing sort of the concept is I want to make a like feature length action movie. I think that would be very cool. I feel like I could do it for low money. And it's one of those things that like you kind of got to try to do to prove that you can. I don't know if that makes sense. So that's something I want to kind of work towards. So that's one of the projects I want to get into writing more of. And yeah, that's, I think, mostly it for right now. There are other videos I want to do at some point in the future, but that's currently what I'm up to. Working and trying to find time to write and make videos, and and that's it. That's this video. What are you up to? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you at a later time. Bye bye.